Do you like a main character that is a straight up griefer that has become a red player? Do you like a man that is a helper of slimes? A man that creates a slime queen and eventually becomes more edgier than Eminence in the Shadow himself, and then also gets a slime waifu, and then he does mining quests to destroy the economy and ruin people to where they're forced to continuously mine for basically an entire month just to make a few gold coins within a game, then the world's strongest troll is definitely a series for you. I recently discovered this, and as you can see on screen here, there is 18 chapters right now, and I've caught up. I read all these literally in one sitting, and I was just like, this is great. This is legit good. And I'm gonna have to look up if there is a novel based on this, because I know a lot of like webtoons and stuff usually have novels written and then they're turned into a webtoon. So I'll have to definitely check that, because if it is, I'm definitely going to read it, because this caught my interest. Like, I want to be honest with you, when I first started reading this, like, what I was reminded of when I first, like, was reading all this and looking at the character and all that, was Hardcore Leveling Warrior. If anyone remembers Hardcore Leveling Warrior, that ended about a year ago, it was really good. Anyone that was reading it, etc., I think can all agree that it was a legitimately good story, good characters, fascinating world building. It had a lot of good going for it, and I'm waiting for the day eventually we have a continuation of that, to some degree, but this series really reminded me of that. Like, the MC in general, he reminds me of just Hardcore Leveling Warrior, like the MC. Like, he acts like him to where, like, he's this, like, griefer slash troll, but he's very strong, he's very powerful, but at the same time, he's just level 1. And let's kind of get into these little details. So basically, this story starts off, or incentivizes our MC here to kill other players. He is a PvPer, and the reason for it is because he gets a hidden class, because this is a new VR game that starts off, and he gets this class called Bard of Anarchy. And basically, he can no longer level up or anything, but he gets something that's called plausibility. Basically, he can actually, use plausibility to change things. And it's a very vague concept, but later on down the road, you get an explanation that basically, because of what class he is and the powers he has, he's able to literally bend, plausibility to break barriers or seals or change the laws that are in the world to his whim if he has enough plausibility points. So basically, he has power on the level of a creator. Like, it's pretty much like he was given Game Master status. That's exactly what he is. He is a game master within this world. Even though he's technically a level 1, if he gets enough plausibility, he could just change anything. Like, fundamentally, if he wanted to completely wipe out all beginner towns, he could do that. And actually, in a way, he did do that. Like, this right here, the Queen Slime, she was summoned at a beginner town. Like, okay, it is a new level of griefing that it's funny to me. Like, okay, let's be honest here. We're all human beings here, let's be honest. Unless some of you guys are some aliens watching me, and if you are, hey, let me know. But, basically, the character, he messed with players. He killed a lot of players, and he saved a bunch of slimes. And the slimes eventually grew connected with him. They started growing a bond with him. And as he continued to help them out, and he kind of boosted them with, plausibility because of his skills, he was able to make them level 15. AKA, they were level 1 creatures, now starting at level 15. So beginner monsters literally turned into level 15. You gotta imagine. Anyone that has played an RPG game, let's just say you're playing Dark Souls. Yeah, I think this is a good, good example. You're playing Dark Souls. So let's just say, the first Dark Souls game, we know there's like different routes. You could go down to the graveyard, you can go up the hill towards, fighting, the gargoyles and all that type of stuff, or you could kind of go underground to the ghosts and all that. There's different directions you could take within, Dark Souls 1. But imagine if all 3 spots were in-game areas, like just straight up on the level of the end of Dark Souls 1. That's pretty much what this man did. He literally helped these slimes, these, beginner monsters, and raised the level to where beginners that start the game no longer have an easy way to really level up, and which obviously is good for him because he is a griefer. He's a PvPer. If he kills them, he gets plausibility points. So you kind of see where all this factors in. And as he continues to help the slime and all that, he creates a slime queen. And it's hilarious because the very story of this world is generated by an AI. For instance, an AI controls the world, the structure, the main quest, and depending on how it goes and the choices the players make will determine how the world is. And in this case, thanks to him helping out the queen slime and him actually getting rid of the main beginner town, yeah, legit, he destroys the beginner town. That's wild to me. He actually destroys it. He pretty much is kind of like a demon king in his own way, and it really does fit because he actually has literally the Lord of Hell himself, like Satan helping him out as an imp, so it kind of all fits into place. But anyways, getting back on topic though, he destroys the beginner town, so anyone that tries to spawn in and start the game would spawn here. In this town that is now technically the Slime Queen's territory. And as things changed, people just started spawning randomly. So now beginners that start the game, they are just literally randomly placed all around the area. So it's like they don't have a set location anymore, which you can see it leads to a lot of confusion. Like imagine starting any game, like you know this is the starter zone, but then suddenly your starting point when you make a character is way over to the west or something, or the south. You're just in a completely different area, maybe in a level 20 zone. That's what could theoretically happen now. So it's wild. Like the overall trolling and griefing, it makes a lot of sense why the title is called that. But let's get a little bit deeper. So basically, the story progresses to where after he helps out the slime, he ventures on to a new town, and he picks up some repeatable quests, that is, mining iron ore. It sounds very simple, very basic, nothing too crazy, so to speak, but anyone that has probably played any form of RPG, any MMO that has a gathering crafting system knows that when it comes to player economy, you know, there is a supply and demand. And in this case, there was a supply and demand problem for iron ore, and the price of it was going up and all that, and the MC realized, like, hey, I could kind of, you know, make money off of this. And the reason why nobody else was doing this is because the overall effort for it just wasn't worth it. For instance, like, going an hour-long trip to get to the mine, and then mining there for a few hours for maybe a few iron ore, like 10 or 20 iron ore, just to come back an hour, you know, leave an hour later, you know, it's not worth all that effort. But he realized, thanks to the plausibility and what he has, he's able to kind of cheat that system to a degree and make a lot of money. But then he turns around and makes a scam YouTube video. I'm not even joking. He makes a scam YouTube video, and he actually incentivizes people to go to the mine and start mining ore to help out the town, which makes him money more. And it's hilarious. Like, he literally is a troll, and I love it. He is an outright, like, he's a good and a bad person. I wouldn't say he's evil, but he definitely is someone that's very self-interested, and I am curious as the story continues on if he actually is a decent human being or not. Like, if he really does become one, or if he really is just all for the thrill and being a bad guy within the game. But it's legitimately entertaining. Like, this is a very entertaining story, and now what's going on in the latest chapter, Chapter 18, this is the latest one that came out that I can read. You know, he goes into a crypt that is for the gods and goddesses and angels and stuff, and obviously he's, you know, has the little imp Satan behind him. You know, he goes into this and he tries to collect this artifact that has a holy aura, but the thing is the artifact deactivates because there's a error, a corruption, so to speak, because he technically shouldn't be able to be in there because obviously he's kind of like an evil karma player because of what he's done. But thanks to, you know, the plausibility and how he can manipulate everything, he got in there. And obviously that's a glitch, it's a bug. And so now the system's trying to react like, what do I do to this? This man's grabbing good and evil artifacts. What are we supposed to do? So the story's getting really fascinating because he's obviously done something that is not good for angels and gods and stuff within this world. And they're not going to like him for just taking an artifact like this, especially with what he's done so far. So I'm just curious. I mean, obviously it's a very cliche thing to do to make the angels and stuff probably the villains of the story, but I wonder if there will be a counterbalance or something else going on. But yeah, it's really good. Like I said, it reminds me a lot of Hardcore Leveling Warrior. If you really are looking for something new to read, give this one a shot. It's good. Yeah, it's legitimately good. I'll have a link to this series in the description as well if you want to check it out. It'll help me out as well if you click on the link, so thank you very much if you do so. But I'm going to leave this video at that. Thank you so much. Be safe, stay healthy, everyone. Chibi out.